If you manage a clinical unit, your day probably looks like this: a high-speed blur of staffing shortages, patient crises, and administrative fires. In that environment, survival mode becomes the default. But effective leaders do not stumble into growth by accident. They make a deliberate choice to grow on purpose. To make that shift, you need to step away from the floor. Grab a physical journal and a pen, and find 10 to 15 minutes of quiet space. In the next 5 minutes, we will map out a concrete sequence of steps to shift your focus from reactive survival toward intentional, measurable progress. Step 1 is defining your focus. Trying to fix every aspect of your leadership at once leads to burnout, so we have to choose a specific lane. On the left is personal growth, the internal work of shaping who you are, like building the emotional maturity to stay grounded. On the right is professional growth, the external work of expanding what you can do, like mastering a new EHR or conflict resolution. Decide which area needs your attention most right now. Write either personal or professional at the top of your page. Committing to a single lane keeps you focused. If you target one specific area, you can actually make measurable progress instead of scattering your energy. Clinical environments are designed to reward putting out fires. You get immediate feedback for reacting to crises, but that same reactive habit actively suppresses your long-term development. To counter this, you must adjust how you process events. Instead of knee-jerk reaction, actively pause and reflect. This shift opens the door for others. Replace making excuses with taking ownership, and trade the comfort of the status quo for the courage to change. Look at these 3 pairs on the screen. Pick the single mindset shift you struggle with the most, write it down, and circle it. Until you address the cognitive side of your leadership, the gravity of daily clinical emergencies will pull apart any tactical plan you try to put in place. Now we turn that mindset into a specific structure. We are going to draft your 1-3-1-1 growth challenge. First is your one goal. It needs to be a highly specific outcome. For example, setting up a structured 5-minute pre-shift huddle. Next, list 3 immediate tactical actions to launch that goal. If you are building that huddle, your actions might be researching a template, drafting the agenda, and briefing your charge nurses. Then choose one accountability partner. This should be a peer, like a fellow unit manager, who will hold you strictly to your commitments, rather than a sympathetic friend who will let you off the hook. Finally, pick one deadline. Give yourself a hard, specific calendar date to complete those 3 actions. Take a moment right now. Finish writing those 4 elements: 1 goal, 3 actions, 1 partner, and 1 deadline in your notebook. A written structure forces execution. This framework is the exact mechanism that takes a vague wish to improve and turns it into a measurable operational reality. But a written plan is only the beginning. In healthcare, new initiatives die quickly if they aren't tied directly to your daily routine. This diagram shows the daily practices framework, repeated actions that keep your plan alive. These aren't massive undertakings. They can be a quick mental self-check before your shift, a moment of intentional thinking, or simply asking a single curious question during patient rounds. You can accomplish this maintenance with just 5 minutes of quiet time before your shift begins. Developing as a leader does not happen in a one-time workshop. It is built through a compounding daily habit of small self-corrections. Look down at the page you've just written. You no longer have an abstract idea about getting better. You now hold a tangible, intentional growth plan. Your next step is immediate. Take a picture of your plan right now and send it to your chosen accountability partner. Your growth is your personal responsibility. How you choose to lead becomes the lasting legacy you leave on your unit. Choosing to grow on purpose is the most direct way to change the culture of your unit and the quality of your team's day. Thank you for choosing to lead with intention.